Hi there, welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. We wrap you up inside our covers today with the legacy that is to unfold on the roads across the corporate area. Then we turn the page to a life-saving technique we hope you will never have to use, but is critical to master. Those and more are in store for you in today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Stay with us.
If you no want pop down and fenke, you fi burn mosquito and run with dengue. So no make water circle in open container. For them to read up under the danger. Usher them out, run them away. Slap them with the zapper and down them with spray. Use mosquito net and mosquito screen. Protect your household, now make them come in. If you no want pop down and fenke, we fi burn mosquito and run with dengue. If pain lick your head and your joints and your eye, and you want fever vomit and your temperature high, it could be dengue, don't hesitate. See a doctor, don't self-medicate. For some painkiller can make you bleed and you will try to recover and no succeed. We no want pop down and fenke. We fi burn mosquito and run with dengue.
A message from the Ministry of Health.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, February 12. Starting February 18, the Transport Authority will be suspending the road licenses of public passenger vehicle PPV operators who have 10 or more outstanding traffic tickets or warrants. Transport Minister Robert Montague says redeeming these is a condition for renewals, and PPV operators will be held accountable for failing to abide by the rules and regulations. This year, license renewal will take place from February 18 to March 31, and new license applications will be processed in May.
The only new license application we will accept between February 18 and March 31 is from the contract carriers, because a lot of them would have imported buses and their buses will be on the wharf, and we will accommodate them. However, for persons who are already within the system, have license already and renew, and you have a little one case, we will accommodate those on a case-by-case basis.
The Transport Minister says individuals who applied to renew their PPV licenses in November of last year but did not receive their license as of last month will be exempt from paying the renewal fee. He was delivering the keynote address at the recent Transport Stakeholders Conference. Meanwhile, the Transport Ministry will be taking steps to remove an estimated 14,000 illegal taxis operating across the island. Minister Montague says that of the estimated 44,000 taxis operating in the country, only about 30,000 are licensed. The Transport Minister says he has written to his Justice counterpart to assist with making it too costly for these persons to continue flouting the law.
So we're going to make roboting so expensive that it is easier you come and do the legitimate and legal and right thing. I have written to the Minister of Justice asking him to have discussion with the justice system, if it is possible, so that the fines and the fees, when you call roboting, be very strong and stiff and stern. It must be expensive to robot. It must be cheap to do the right thing.
In the meantime, Minister Montague says an online application for the renewal of road licenses will be rolling out soon. And come April 1, 2020, the Transport Authority will be issuing no more than 3 licenses in one name. These plans form part of a 16-point proposal to transform the public transportation sector and reform the operations of the Transport Authority. 37 Justices of the Peace, JPs, have been appointed in the parish of St. Mary. This marks the first appointment for Justices of the Peace since the start of 2019. Portfolio Minister Delroy Chuck says these JPs will be able to serve all parishes under the updated JP legislation.
Let me thank you for offering yourself and making yourself available to serve the people. It is not necessarily a task that will be appreciated. It's very often a thankless job. But I beg of you, do it to the best of your ability. Jamaica needs people like you who are willing to come forward and offer voluntary service.
Minister Chugg says there will be regular training sessions in all parishes for justices of the peace to better inform them about the laws and train them in mediation, restorative justice, and child diversion. The human resource records in 30 government ministries, departments, and agencies, MDAs, will be uploaded onto a new MyHR Plus digital data system by January 2021. Finance and Public Service Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke made the disclosure while providing an update on the government's public sector transformation program last Thursday. Dr. Clarke said this component of the public sector transformation program would improve service delivery across government.
This will allow for the employment of HR metrics across the public sector. And MyHR Plus, because it will have the entire employment record, the pension software will be able to plug into and retrieve the data, allowing for a huge acceleration in processing of pension payments.
Minister Clarke says 12 ministries, departments, or agencies are currently using the digital platform, while the Jamaica Constabulary Force and Tax Administration Jamaica are to transition by March 2019. He says the second phase of implementation for MyHR Plus will start in July with 16 MDAs and span an 18-month period. Full deployment of the system across government will result in the digitization of approximately 100,000 public sector officers' HR records. Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ is conducting a property tax collections drive in St. Catherine as part of an island-wide intervention to improve compliance. The collections drive in St. Catherine is being implemented by TAJ's Kingston Revenue Service Centre from February 11 to 22. It's a joint initiative with the Ministry of Local Government. TAJ says the activity will focus on the most delinquent communities in and around Spanish Town, Old Harbour and Linstead. Personnel will be serving final notices and summonses and issuing warrants of disobedience ordered by the courts. Affected communities include Sydenham Villa, Willowdean, Villanova and its environs, and Union's Estate in Spanish Town. The Old Harbour communities of New Harbour Village 1 and Claremont Heights, as well as Mickleton Meadows in Linstead, will also be targeted. Tax Administration Jamaica is encouraging persons to pay their outstanding property taxes in order to avoid enforcement actions being taken against them. And finally, Jamaica's work permit framework is being improved to become more technologically driven. Labour and Social Security Minister Shahini Robinson says the new web-based work permit system is being funded by the Inter-American Development Bank through the Ministry of Finance. It's being done under the Public Sector Modernization Project.
This program aims to roll out a new client-focused, web-based work permit system that will be linked to the LMIS. It is envisioned that this system will, inter alia, provide a local skills bank vis-à-vis the importation of skilled workers.
Minister Robinson was speaking at her ministry's recent quarterly media briefing. She also revealed that the Labour Market Information System, LMIS, will be launching its new website and a mobile app in April.
These initiatives seek to ensure that job seekers and employers will have the services of the ministry at their fingertips.
The Labour Market Information System is a national job matching facility that connects employers with those looking for employment. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Overhead and flyover bridges are just a few of the components being implemented to expand the road network in the corporate area. By the end of 2019, it is expected that traffic flow in and out of the capital will be considerably improved. Watch this.
So now I've given the NWA a mandate, build road, but I have to modify it, fix road too. You have to do both of them. You have to build them, fix them, maintain them.
It's a story of two tales. What was laid there then, and what today and beyond looks like. Possessing similar qualities to those seen in the first world nations, many of our island's roadways experienced and continue to experience significant developments, or perhaps it's fitting to say complete renovations. It's a legacy literally unfolding. Government has created the Road Infrastructure Legacy Projects that fall under its Major Infrastructure Development Program, MIDP. And what's one aim of this project? Developing roads and making life a lot easier for motorists and commuters. Barbican was one area that experienced major developments. Workmen were kept busy expanding and improving the road, all in an effort to present us with this.
What's happening at Barbican is that we're doing a bit of extension between Russell Heights and Garth Road. We are at the stage now where the base has been laid, and very shortly we are going to be putting on the tack coat and final coat. We'll also be doing some work on the eastern side of Barbican Road. We'll have to do the laterals because the sewer system has been extended and will be extended even further.
The Mandela Highway connecting St. Catherine to the corporate areas of Kingston and St. Andrew is also being redeveloped. The area has come a long way, providing motorists using the space with much needed comfort.
As it relates to the Mandela Highway, we are roughly 88% complete. We currently are working on the last major structure that we are going to be building along the Mandela, and that is at the Haney River. We have actually completed roughly half of this structure. We are getting ready to put traffic across it, and this is to facilitate the westbound flow. That's traffic heading from the direction of Spanish Town Road towards Caymanas crossing Spanish Town or the toll roads.
A major intersection connecting you to busy areas such as Spanish Town Road, downtown Kingston, Marcus Garvey Drive, and even the legendary Tough Gong Studio is 3 miles. This area too, along with its connecting Hagley Park Road, is undergoing a transformation. And there's more work to be done, but we can't deny the remarkable developments of what we are witnessing today at 3 miles and Hagley Park Road.
The project, which is to rehabilitate or reconstruct sections of Hagley Park Road and the reconfiguration of the 3 miles area, this project overall is 41% complete. We have already completed roughly half of the drainage infrastructural works that we have set ourselves to do. The sewer works are also ongoing. The bridge works are also ongoing. At this point, what we are doing now is we are putting in the T-beams that will then make way for the concrete decks to be poured. We are pushing to have all of these bridge works in the 3 miles area completed in about 3 months, having started those activities at the turn of 2019.
Another area that is being developed is the Constant Spring Roadway. This thoroughfare is being widened and properly paved to facilitate a smooth flow of traffic. And while works are still underway, we have a clear vision of what is to come.
For Constant Spring Road, we are also roughly 41% overall. The sewer works are pretty advanced. We have completed roughly 70% of that particular activity. The water line activity continues. We are nearly half of the way insofar as this particular bit of work is concerned. We have actually opened up a section of the new road between in the vicinity of the Immaculate School up to Manor Park, and this is to ease the travel for persons using that bit of the corridor. As the months progress, or the weeks and the months progress, we intend to open up more of the road. The focus here now is between Hillman Road and Shortwood Road.
The path that Jamaica chooses and the actions taken will lead ultimately to a unique legacy. The outcomes that we desire will be achieved through focused strategies as we build a stronger and better Jamaica, land we love. It's non-negotiable. We will leave a legacy.
The road infrastructure legacy projects at Barbican Road, Mandela Highway, 3 Miles, Hagley Park and Constant Spring Road represent just another example of government working to develop the corporate area and make Jamaica the place of choice to live and, well, just do about anything.
Coming up, the happenings within the office of the Prime Minister over the past week.
Prime Minister announces plans for another Zoso by March, breaks ground for 1,000-room hotel in Trelawney, and
I am totally devastated by this, and hearing it, my wife and myself totally in shock, and I wish to express the deep sympathy and condolences.
You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Lorraine Mendez.
As soon as we have approved the next budget, which will be by the end of March, and in fact you are likely to see a zone declared even before the end of March, in anticipation of the resources allocated in the budget.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness confirming government's plans to scale up the Zones of Special Operations, ZOSOs. He was speaking during Tuesday's sitting of the lower house, where motions to extend the ZOSOs in Mount Salem and Denham Town were approved. The ZOSOs, which are currently in their build phase, will continue for another 2 months. In addition to building leadership in the zones, land regularization is ongoing in Mount Salem, while a $184 million infrastructure program has started in Denham Town.
We believe that these interventions through the zones of special operations will contribute to the reduction of the murder rate, to the reduction of crimes generally, but to, more importantly, Mr. Speaker, establish peace in our country.
While in Parliament Tuesday, Mr. Holness said Jamaica had sought and received support from the European Union to execute ZOSOs and other intervention programs.
More and more, Mr. Speaker, our development partners are taking interest in the zones of special operations, because the challenge of violence in communities is not just a Jamaican occurrence. It is happening right across the Caribbean and in the wider Latin American region. So what we are doing is being studied. People are taking interest in it to see how well it works.
The Prime Minister asserted that the special security measures had been effective, pointing out no murder had been recorded in Mount Salem and only one in Denham Town since their declaration as ZOSOs. As at February 4, the island recorded 46 fewer murders than the same period last year.
All possible measures that are permitted within our constitutional arrangements are being used.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness also joined parliamentarians this week in paying tribute to slain East Portland MP Dr. Linval Bloomfield.
Upon hearing the news, I was devastated. Because not that he was a member of parliament and therefore there is some protection around him. But when it comes close and you can relate, it's a different feeling than hearing what is being said on the news. But this is someone that you know. And this, Mr. Speaker, is the experience of the average Jamaican. I think what we could do in honor of our colleague is to reaffirm cooperation in the fight against crime.
By Wednesday, the Prime Minister was in Trelawney to break ground for the 1,000-room H10 hotel. The first 500 rooms will be available by December. Mr. Holness welcomed the investment, saying the hotel's construction and operation would employ over 1,000 Jamaicans.
And that is the shared benefit of investment. That is what we mean when we say we believe in inclusive growth and prosperity. Not just the kind of investment that turns over money and increases profit, but the kinds of investment that can turn around lives and increase the quality of life that people experience. Tourism is doing that in Jamaica.
Looking to the future, the Prime Minister said government would be using tourism as one of the sectors to grow the economy beyond 2% in the April to June quarter this year.
Growth is all about value creation. So, yes, we could be making investments. Yes, we could be bringing in new capital. But the question is, what is the value that is being created in the local economy? So if it is that we are importing all that we are using to build, then that doesn't count towards growth. If it is that we are importing all the food that will be sold in the hotels, that does not contribute towards growth. What contributes towards growth is when the farmer across the road can get his or her products into the hotel to be sold.
Back at Jamaica House Tuesday, the Prime Minister met with head of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Pastor Ted Wilson. Mr. Holness used the occasion to thank the church for its role in various humanitarian efforts which have impacted the lives of many Jamaicans. And all last week, Mr. Holness met with agencies under the Office of the Prime Minister to get progress updates on their programs. They include the Ministry of Science and Technology, the Jamaica Information Service, Chase Fund, JSIF, and the NHT. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
February is being observed as Heart Month. 2019's theme asks the question, the diabetic heart, are you at risk? Concentrating on diabetes is welcomed, as approximately 12% of the population over the age of 15 has the illness. If a loved one is diabetic, there are two important matters to know: how to manage diabetes and what to do if there's heart failure. Next, we go to CPR class.
Oscar! 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 Though this is a dramatization, it has happened quite often. In the field, at home, or at work, a loved one collapses and is unresponsive. What follows? Usually chaos, confusion, heartache, instead of immediately providing that critical resuscitation technique which may prevent death.
CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It is a skill that is an emergency skill that is used to revive someone whose heart has stopped beating. Cardiac arrest can happen to anyone at any time. In the event that happens, you need to know the skills that you need to perform to revive these persons or give these persons a chance of survival.
We never know when we can really in a situation where we need to help someone else. It's really just a little bit of your time, and I think it would be a worthwhile investment in learning these skills so we can render assistance.
Even when someone is choking, the techniques learned in CPR may be applied to save that person from asphyxiation. To release the person's airway, position yourself behind them and clasp your fist at the navel and roll in an upward motion. When someone is unresponsive, that's a whole other ballgame. The person may become unresponsive for several reasons. For instance, they could have a medical condition. To really know if someone is unresponsive and in need of CPR,
Tap the person's shoulder and shout, "Sir, sir, sir," or "Ma'am, are you okay?" Once the person is not responding to you, and they can respond in several forms. They can answer by moaning, they can groan, they can open their eyes, they can move a limb. If the person is not responding to you, now you need to scan the chest and look if you see breathing. Once the person is not breathing, their terms as being unresponsive. So once you have somebody collapsing, the first thing you need to do is check your environment, ensure that your environment is safe for you. Once the environment is safe, now you need to assess the person who has collapsed. Once someone is unresponsive, has no signs of life, call for help and bare the person's chest. So you remove their upper garments. Find your hand position. It's on the lower half, center of the chest, lower half of the breastbone, and you push in 30 times at the Bee Gees song, that's Staying Alive. Ha, 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 staying alive. If you are trained, after 30 compressions, you can give 2 breaths. If you are not trained, you don't know about CPR, you give hands-only CPR. So hands-only CPR is where you compresses the chest. You need to continue that on the way to the hospital, so you're maintaining cells life.
It's possible for anyone and everyone to learn CPR.
Nannies, construction workers, teachers, lawyers, doctors, everyone should learn CPR. Once you're able-bodied, you can learn CPR.
In terms of age, it's said as young as 12 years old can learn the art to save a life.
So many times, children get in situations that they need assistance. In fact, a cousin of mine, her son got into some distress. She realized that he wasn't breathing one day, and she was able to help him by giving him CPR. So I think that was really important that she had those skills so that she could assist her son, because who knows what would have happened if she wasn't able to give him that immediate assistance.
This course, I've done it before, and I find it very interested because I work a lot with children, and one time I have to do a CPR on a little boy because there was leave under my care and mother wasn't around, and he was eating some plum and playing on like plum seed, stabbing his throat, and I just hear him coughing, but it never very severe because he was coughing. So when he was coughing, I hold him up and I, try to do a little, I understand the CPR, tell him to cough. And he cough and cough until it actually come up.
I had a patient once, and while I was there in the bathroom with that person, the person just fell unconscious, and I was there, didn't know exactly what to do, but I was there saying, "Sir, are you okay? Are you okay?" And I didn't know much, what to do, but I decided to put the person on the side, and I was there trying to stop the person, then I was saying to myself, if I had known CPR well enough, I could perform it.
The Heart Foundation of Jamaica is one of the several local organizations that offer training in CPR.
The Heart Foundation of Jamaica is an authorized training center for the American Heart Association. We offer CPR training for medical and non-medical persons. We have our scheduled in-house training, and organization can call us to schedule classes at their convenience.
CPR!
As we close the show for another day, we thank you for staying with us. Please like, share, and visit our webpage and social media platforms. And tomorrow, do join us again on this station for another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.